Good evening, everybody. And I was going to say welcome to another exciting episode, everyone. It's Jonas, but that's not what we're doing here. This is the first episode of Cave Goblin Radio. You probably saw episode 0 on our Extra Life last year. But now we're doing it in actuality. I'm just familiarizing myself with turning off the sound effects. And I've got a guest today, Mr. Tristan Wheeler.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here on. For some reason, I guess the 0 I thought was number 1. So it's wild to be. Hey, thanks for having me on number 1.
Number 1, yeah.
That's
let's see if we
awesome.
can top this. I don't know if
Yeah,
we'll
it's
be
gonna be
able
downhill
to.
from here on out.
Yeah, mate. Let's see if we can raise for ourselves, no charity, as much as you raised on your recent radio pizza party stream.
Oh, yeah, 4,600 bucks for
Oh,
Wave
400 off. So I've got to pay
I
you
know.
400 if I want to give you a tattoo.
Well, I think me and Jack are. I think we're kind of. We might. I don't know if we're gonna go because originally Xanthea offered stick and pokes. So I think, but
Hmm.
we might go for the professional route. But I think we're gonna do it next time
Okay.
when when Jack visits me in Toronto or vice versa when I come to Vancouver. So I think it's imminent.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
when it happens, who
You
knows?
don't want to be getting charity tattoos on the amateur circuit. Like, who knows what could
Yeah,
happen?
yeah, and I mean, Jack, I was fine with it, but Jack was like, "No,
Well,
don't trust her. No,
Jack doesn't know me. We haven't met
no,
before.
I'm kidding. You did say that.
But you were thinking of getting a pizza slice.
Yes,
Is that still
I think that's
the going
that's
theme?
still that's still the plan. I know originally we said on our butts, but I think John Cullen, when he came on the stream, did a good job
No,
of just waiting of that.
he's the real wrench in the works here. As
He
soon as
is.
I heard him start saying that, being the old fuddy-duddy teacher, and saying, "Oh no, guys, you're gonna regret having a tattoo." I have what? How many tattoos do I have, Talia? I think I have 8. I don't regret any of them. Um,
But are any on your butt, if you don't mind my asking?
no, they're not. But I would put one on my butt. I would for sure do it. Yeah,
You've already
maybe.
done tattoos, right?
What's that?
I was saying you've already done. You have 8 tattoos. Butts like, but like I do think having
Hmm.
having the first one on the butt, and I feel like
Maybe.
having it visible might be kind of cool potentially. I don't know. This is all,
Yeah.
this is all debates that, if we people have been debating this for till the beginning of time, and they're going to continue to for all of history.
Of where to
Where to
get
put this
your first
tattoo?
tattoo. Jesse in chat says, I had a friend who got a Rush tattoo on his ass for a radio contest. Did he win the
Oh
Rush
my goodness.
tattoo for the radio contest?
What was the Rush? Was it just the logo as well? That's something. As a big Rush fan, I'm curious what the Rush tattoo was.
I'd like to hear that as well. While we're waiting for that, curlytop.com says, I'm getting a tattoo of a fridge on my calf because my legs are built like fridges. That's awesome.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's
That's
very
powerful.
body positive.
It is. Yeah. As a rectangular person myself, I can definitely um I can definitely relate. But we're talking about this charity stream you did. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So, me and Jack, the aforementioned Jack, had a radio show, for about 3-ish years, 3 and a bit years on CITR in Vancouver, CITR 101.9 FM, and it was Radio Pizza Party. So it was kind of like it's kind of a similar thing to this, us having guests. It was maybe a little more like bits. I don't know. Hey, who knows what this turned into? But it was a very bit heavy show. And um, on the 6th, I'm now flying to Toronto. So we've decided for our last show, we should have some sort of, we should do some sort of event. And we just came up with a stream, and then we came up with a charity stream, and then WAVA, who's an organization that obviously does some great work in Vancouver for survivors of sexual violence. We picked them and we did the stream for 12 hours on August 15th, and yeah, raised 4,600 bucks altogether, which is absolutely nuts. I think we both were like, oh, 500, but like, well, originally we were like, I put 700, and my girlfriend's like, oh, that's a bit steep. Maybe you should just go for 500. And I was like, yeah, I guess, I don't want to be like embarrassed that we don't reach 700. And yeah, so we blew that right out of the water. So that was super awesome. I was like, still, and I think about it, it's crazy.
A big shout out to that. Was it a timber company or something?
It was a SL flagging company in Dawson's Creek, British Columbia. Someone my dad, I guess, works, a company my dad's company works. Well, not my dad. My dad didn't own the company, but the company, my dad works with this company basically.
And he strung on them into doing it. I didn't know there
Well,
was
and
a
the crazy
Dawson's
thing,
Creek in British Columbia. Is that where the show
yeah,
Dawson's Creek is set? No, because that's named after Dawson himself. What's the town called in
yeah.
that?
Is it just called Creek?
Maybe.
So it's Dawson's Creek.
And Dawson
But the
is the
crazy
mayor
thing
of the
about
creek.
the flagging company is, so my dad was with the owner. His name's Cynthia, I believe is her name, and she was he was saying she's the kind of person that just gives away too much money. So originally she was going to give 5 grand, and my dad had to talk her down because he's like, you can't afford to give 5 grand. And while that would have been awesome, I am glad that this person isn't in a worse financial situation for donating to our stream.
Some people are just too generous for their own good.
Yeah, I think that was what he might, because my dad knows her. That's what he was kind of saying.
Yeah. Well, this show, this show here, Cave Goblin Radio, the original intent of it, and in that episode 0 we mentioned, we play original music submissions. And I've got
Oh
quite
yeah.
a number of these for you today. So why don't we move on to the first song? Now, I'm going to be editing this after the fact for the audio release, the release next Wednesday. So every
Okay.
Wednesday this isn't on, get the audio release, and I'll probably cut the songs out of that because I'll tell you, I've never enjoyed listening to a podcast and having to do a musical break. But here we go. We're going to go. This is Ben Cottrell with Won't Be With You from the album Velvet Regret, Volume 1. And let's open up YouTube. And here we go.
Falling fast on a country road in the middle of the night, and you're way too stoned to be doing this. But I won't be with you. You and your pack of pitching wolves stare snarling at me as they back into a 100-foot hole. But they don't scare me. Oh no, I wonder. Oh no, I wonder. Oh no, I won't be with you, babe. Are you scared of waking up? Maybe terrified by this thing that you've become. I wish that I was sorry, but it's hard to be. To watch you start burn out and fall so bitterly. But I won't be with you, no. Oh no, I won't. Oh no, I won't. Oh no, I won't be with you, babe. I had such high hopes for you, yeah, but you must have misheard me. You went and lost your mind from all of the things you do. You don't know how much that hurt me. Oh, yeah. Ooh,
right, that was Won't Be With You by Ben Cottrell. I realized as we were rolling then, I don't have a way of seeing how long is left in the song without hovering over the screen like some kind of first year university professor. So
Oh, that's always the best. Like the autoplay, like professors have not figured out how to deal with autoplay.
yeah,
Like at least when
exactly.
I finished university a couple months ago.
Oh yeah. Let me just finish shouting out this song, and then I want to
Yeah,
talk about
sorry.
that a little bit. No, no worries at all.
I'm a
I'm
big
just
sidetracker.
That's perfect because I've got to fill up about 45 more minutes. So
Okay.
I'm just posting in the chat if you're watching this live at Ben Cottrell Music on Instagram. That's how you can find that artist. So every artist submits these songs themselves. That was a good video, actually. I really enjoyed that song.
Hmm.
I haven't listened to any of them yet. We're gonna find out the hard way if that's a bad idea. Probably live. We did have one that I
I think
probably
that's a
won't
good.
name during the last time we did this. That was had some pretty bad messaging, re mental health and
It's
medication, and not taking said
oh,
medication. Lesson
uh-oh.
learned. We won't play that song again. But yeah, so you
No.
just graduated from UBC,
Yes. I mean, I've done classes. I gotta wait till November until I'm officially graduated, but all my classes are done.
and were you majoring in journalism? I knew you were the editor at the Ubyssey. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was the blog and opinion editor, so I was in charge of two sections, but I studied English. English Lit was my degree.
So as an opinion editor, um, what does that entail? Because when I did some writing for Discorder, which I know is tangentially affiliated, most of the editing was just my grammar and facts. But how do you edit
Hmm.
someone's opinion?
Yes, this is the hard part about the job, and this is the thing where like you see even like professional opinion editors don't know how to do, where it's like, hey, just because someone outside entity is writing this, you got to make sure that the all the facts are straight. Um, so like you wouldn't say like, of course, in extreme examples, there have been many. You get many letters that are completely unfit to publish because they are in incredibly bad faith. Kind of, you know, use your imagination what bad faith might mean. And
Like
but
telling
for
people
the
not to
most
take
part,
their medication, kind of thing.
yes.
Hmm.
And actually, the writer of that song sent a letter, and I think maybe that's what inspired that song was the letter I
That's
rejected
actually
them
how we
for.
met.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so uh, you don't really try to edit their opinion. You guess you try to edit their argument, and so you kind of become a little bit more adept at the kind of rhetorical things that are happening in like an opinion letter, and you can disagree with it, of course, and but just be trying to be like, okay, but are these arguments sound? Are these facts that you're bringing up correct? And yeah, that's kind of like the main thing there. As long as yeah,
What's the wildest submission that you've had that made it to print?
that made it to print.
Yeah.
Hmm, it's a good question. Usually, like luckily, the ones that make it to print aren't usually that wild. One that I feel, I mean, you get sometimes ones that are like related to international events, like when there was like when Venezuela was like peak, in the news,
Hmm.
from the last, I think before, yeah. So yeah, when Venezuela was happening, got a letter that was someone getting upset at the Social Justice Center at the university, basically penning. So it was like a response to their letter that was in support of, or maybe not in support, but anti-U.S. imperialism. So
Yeah.
that sort of happens a lot, where you get, because a campus entity makes a statement, this international political thing that is like incredibly complex. becomes now a campus issue and is can be published. So that's an example.
Right. So, I mean, I noticed your hesitation when I asked that about that made it to print. So I feel like maybe you had one in the barrel for a wilder story that didn't make it to print.
Oh my God. So yeah, so yeah, so campus, I mean, hey, there's a lot of people on campus. Um, the UBC campus had the UBC Free Speech Club, which wasn't an officially recognized club, more so like a collection of people that called themselves this. Um, so they would send stuff, and every once in a while it'd be like in good faith, and the argument would be okay, so you could get away with publishing it. So, but there's a few that they've sent in. There's this one guy. I don't know if I should say his name because I don't want to give him more publicity, and he'd love it.
What's a
But
fun name for him that isn't his name?
his name is as ridiculous as Wilhelm Spetzel. Like he's not German, but he has like a very like comically German name.
Okay.
And and he's like he's the one of the guys that once he talks to you, he tries to put this because he sent a letter. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was completely unfit. It was like like anti-free speech and feminism is all this, just the classic points. But he's the guy, once you start talking to him and you kind of start
I think we might have
unraveling what he actually believes in, you just realize how heinous. Sorry?
Oh, I was just saying I think we might have lost you, but as I started saying that, your audio cut back in.
Okay, yeah.
You were saying heinous.
Sorry, what? Yeah, once you start talking to him, you kind of realize how bad, and how but yeah, some of the opinions can be that he actually holds that he doesn't immediately go to, and yeah, and so he was an interesting. I say interesting, maybe diplomatically.
So this guy was like a frequent writer?
Frequent writer, frequent would come into the office and be like, hey, why aren't you publishing my letter? That's censorship. And I'd be like, well, no, because you're saying this horrible thing about, say, Indigenous people in Canada,
so he'd
or
physically come
about
into the office.
Yeah, but he would never be like aggressive. He'd just be like, what's and he's the kind of guy that would be like, hey, Tristan, how's it going? Oh, I love that sweater. It looks very, and then as to like ingratiate himself. And then once you start getting down to it, he's like, yikes.
I mean, isn't that exactly how fascism takes its hold? They come in with the nice uniforms. And then before you know it, you're on a train.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm for the sake of we're on a live medium here, so I'm not going to say that he is.
Well, we're not beholden to a government university body here.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, that's definitely, one could say
that. So we also are prepared to take some callers on here. If you'd like to call in and you're watching live right now, just type !Discord in the chat. It looks like Talia's already done that for me, and Talia will get you started. There's some minor vetting in there. But yeah, do we have a caller ready, Talia? It's you?
I'm curious if you ever figured out how that what brush tattoo that person got. I don't know if they ever answered that. I missed it.
A brush tattoo?
Rush tattoo. They say they got a rush tattoo on their butt or someone.
Yes, let's scroll up and have a look at that. It's just the logo, and I don't think he won. So he got the tattoo of the rush tattoo. So
and didn't win.
It looks like we've got a caller ready.
Oh, caller on line 1.
All right, caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Oh, g'day.
Oh, hello.
G'day, caller. I see you're trying to relate to the Australian host here. What can we call you?
You can call me Baz.
All right, Baz.
Baz?
Baz Cook. What's that short for?
It's short for Barry. Barry, Baz.
Nice.
I prefer Baz. Barry's my father's name.
Are you Australian, or was that you? Is this a? Are you making fun of the host?
Nah. I'm true blue. Fair dinkum from down under.
Because I will warn you, I have
Wow.
incredibly thin skin, and I will cry. Live on air.
Yeah. And I'm a sympathetic crier, so if Xanthea cries, I'll cry.
Oh, we don't want any tears falling out here.
So, have you got any questions for us today, Baz? Or is it Baz Jr. if your dad's name is Barry too?
Nah. I'm no junior. Yeah, I've got a question for both of you. I'd like to know a little bit about perhaps what kind of music you would like to see on this here Cave Goblin Radio.
Well, that's a good question, Tristan. Why don't you take that one?
What kind of music would I like to see? Well, last I checked, you hear music. Oh, that's a great hit.
Yeah, you got me there, mate. I guess
Oh, mile a minute with this guy.
you can see
Yeah.
music with the right friends.
Okay.
That's true. What kind of music? Hey, I like anything. I like music that has like a rhythm that I've never heard before. Some like a funky rhythm. That's yeah, like that sort of stuff.
Like something really
I've been-
syncopated and weird.
Yeah, like world music.
Oh yeah, that's
World
pretty
music.
good.
It's a weird phrase, eh?
It is, isn't it? Because the music that's not world music, like the stuff that's on your Discover Weekly, usually comes from England, America, and Australia.
Yeah.
And
sometimes, yeah.
And Canada.
Canada,
can't
yeah, there's a
forget-
lot of
Canada,
Canadian
once in a while.
musicians.
Can't forget the Canadians.
We mentioned Rush mere moments ago.
Rush, big one.
So perhaps if
Baz,
it was
what do you? Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Sorry, Baz, continue.
Oh, I was just thinking something different. Maybe like if you gave a ukulele to a possum.
If you gave a ukulele to
Ooh.
a possum.
See what happens. That could be some good tunes.
Now you're Australian. Are we talking
That'd be
a brush-tailed possum, like the cute Australian kind, or an opossum, the American kind that's like a big cute Halloween rat?
Well, I always default to the cute Australian kind, and I think it's up for debate about whether or not opossums are cute. I think they look a little bit festy myself.
Yeah, but aren't
But
the
either
cutest
or.
people a little bit rough around the edges too?
Yeah, but possums aren't people, you know. I hate to be the one to say it.
Controversial
That's
take.
true.
I don't know.
That is true.
I don't know if
I-
we stand for that kind of possum slander on Cave Goblin Radio.
All right.
Tristan, you were saying?
Oh, I'm just I'm not realizing that the opossum and possum are different creatures. I thought that was just a way of saying the same thing.
Yeah, see, I used to get confused about that too. I think when I first moved to Australia in 1997, because I had heard possum and always thought of the American rat possum. But an Australian brush-tailed possum is quite a cute creature. It looks sort of like a marsupial version of a lemur, I would say.
Okay.
If you were to look that up. I've
That's
made
kinda
friends
cute.
with quite a few of them. They very often will move into your attic space in your house.
Oh yeah, these are cute.
And they cause a lot of problems. But if you smear a bit of peanut butter on an apple slice, you can get them to come right up to you. They'll love it.
I mean, I reckon I'll come
Wow.
right up to you with a bit of peanut butter on an apple slice, to
Look-
be honest.
Looks like we got another.
That works the most. Yeah, I agree with most people.
Looks like we got another caller has
Oh.
jumped in.
Hello.
Well, hey
Hi.
Jesse,
How's
right?
it going?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I mean, I know your name. I don't have to pretend that I don't.
Yeah, that was weird because I know you guys know each other, so
It was weird. Just real quick, Baz, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure this won't be the last time. We're just gonna bump you off and make room for the other caller. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Xanthea, and nice to meet you.
nice to meet
Tristan.
you, Baz.
All right. Cheers, Baz. All right, Jesse. First time.
Hey,
I guess
Jesse.
it's the first show.
Hey. Yeah, no, to round out that Rush tattoo story, I believe somebody else got like a tattoo of the like faces of the band member like across their chest or something ridiculous, and they ended up winning. And so, If I
It is
recall
worthy
correctly.
of winning.
How many of them? How many of them are left alive? Is it Alex and is it John, the lead singer?
Getty.
What's that?
Getty Lee.
Getty Lee. I
Getty
always
Lee.
think John Paul
Yeah.
Getty, but that's someone else, right?
I think so.
It must be Getty
Yeah, John
Lee.
Getty is the all the money in the world guy.
What's that? All the money in the world? Is that a song?
He was like the richest man in the world. There's like a movie based on it, and his son was kidnapped. John Paul Getty.
Right. Well, I think of it every time. He'll always be a modern day warrior to me. So Jesse, we were talking about what kind of music people like to hear on here. What kind of music are you hoping to hear on this show?
I mean, I would always love to hear some punk bands, or maybe some indie rock, or some hip hop if we can find some good artists to come on. Kind of, unfortunately for me, in that one, most of the bands I know that I'll be sending your way do not fit in those genres. They're very good. They're just not those particular genres.
If I wanted to send you a friend of mine, I made a music video for a friend of mine's, but it has swears in it, so
Swears
don't
are
necess-
encouraged. I have a
swears are
swear
encouraged.
filter that
Well,
the most swears gets to the top of the list. I'm just waiting for like Marshall Mathers to submit an original.
Oh yeah. But
yeah, if you're
yeah,
listening now, in answer to that question, and sorry to cut you off, Tristan, I'm hosting quite poorly.
no, I'm being a bad guest.
So that's in the we're gonna have to put you in timeout. You're gonna rack up some penalty points in the fantasy league.
Being a bad boy.
But yeah, Talia's just posted in the chat bit.ly/Cave Goblin Radio. If you're just listening to this, that's the music submission. It's a Google form. Anyone could submit, but just make sure you have the copyright to said song, and we'll play it on air.
Sounds great.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I think I'm gonna take off, but I'll make sure to share that and reshare it to some of my musician friends.
All right, Jesse. Well, thanks for calling in. Always a pleasure.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure
Great
I'll
to hear from you, Jesse.
Talk to you tomorrow in our other show, Cave Goblin Party Night.
Yeah, for sure. I've been enjoying the stream so far.
Thanks.
Good job, both of you.
Hey,
Yeah,
thanks. Hey, I appreciate
Tristan's
it.
carrying a lot of weight here. Why don't we move into another song and take a little break from me talking over Tristan? Let's pull up. We've got 2600, spelled 20600, with Perpetual Dusk from the album The Cold Rise from Sleep. And if I recall correctly, this one isn't a video, and I don't have my video loops ready. So what we're going to do is we are going to watch their album art, and let's go into that now. I thought I had a bit more time than that to talk it out. That was 2600 with Perpetual Dusk, and we're back on the air, Cave Goblin Radio, with Tristan Wheeler. And real quick shout out to 2600.bandcamp.com, and I'll just be posting that in the chat momentarily. What do you think of that one, Tristan?
I liked it. I mean, I was in the chat, and I think Rubber Possum, who might be someone we know, maybe that's Baz's alter ego, says
Maybe.
it was feeling like riding down a dirt road, going to save my enemy, who's now my friend from the evil capitalists stealing our town. And I like that's very apt. It had a very Mad Max sort of grungy revenge film vibe. I liked it.
It had that kind of even air of the sort of Korean revenge genre. Have you ever got into that?
That's like Old Boy and those sort of movies.
Exactly. I'd say Old Boy is the archetypical film from that. I think you could possibly even add, in some ways, Parasite to that story genre now. I mean, it's Korean. It features revenge.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away.
Well, the guy who did Old Boy and the guy who did, Bong Joon-ho, they kind of came up together, right? They're part of that South Korean, I don't know if it has a name like New Wave or New Cinema or something like that in the late 90s to 2000s. That was like a big thing. There's a few notable directors that don't come to my mind at this point that were kind of all that kind of very like that grungy, very wild movies.
Have you seen any of the other ones? Like I think I Saw the Devil is another one in that same revenge trilogy as Old Boy.
No, I actually have not seen Old Boy or any of those ones. I know they revoke my movie fan card. I just haven't got a chance to see that. A few other ones like that. Like I haven't seen Titanic.
Well, you're not missing out on much with Titanic.
Film Vidar.
I feel like Titanic kind of started a trend of pushing cinema in the wrong direction. With the big budget thing, there's that story about James Cameron just screwing over that entire CGI studio because he disagreed with the kind of seagulls that would be in the first scene where you see the Titanic in the bay. So they have the Titanic there at the bay and everyone boarding it, and there's these seagulls flying around just briefly for a few seconds in the distance. And he's like, those are the wrong breed of seagull. They don't exist there. And like, yeah, sorry, Mr. Cameron, they do. And he insisted they change it, but because they had already worked on a lump sum basis, they then have to keep working, doing overtime without getting paid extra, because they've already won on the lowest bid against other CG firms to replace the seagulls, which ended up being wrong, and I think they ended up getting cut anyway. Anyway, that's my main takeaway from Titanic. One thing I'd say about Old Boy, two things even, is don't bother with the Americanized one, and try not to learn anything about
Josh Brolin?
it. Yeah. Didn't Spike Lee make it or something?
Yeah, it's a very weird, like it's got Josh Brolin, Spike Lee's the director, and what's it, Sharlto Copley.
Really?
District 9 is the bad guy. Yeah.
I love Sharlto Copley though. He was originally supposed to
I like him too.
I think I've mentioned this actually if you're listening to this, the most recent episode of Van X Van, which is on the same feed as this, that Sharlto Copley was originally supposed to be Rocket Raccoon, but they wanted a bigger name on the poster.
Oh.
That would have been fun.
Damn.
You don't hear a South African accent very often.
And then was it Bradley Cooper, right? Like, come on, like he's fine.
He did a good job, but it's this trend. Because this was when I was interviewing Tanner Zipchan, we were talking about this trend of non-voice actors playing voice acting roles just to put their name on the picture to get bums in seats, and it's really just about selling the movie rather than making the best cinematic experience, which is a bummer.
Exactly. Like, well, like did they need was it Vin Diesel to be Groot? Like, was that necessary? Like,
I mean, I do believe that Vin Diesel is an artist.
Oh, for sure.
legitimately, unironically, but yeah, he didn't need to do that. Why didn't they get like D. Bradley Baker or someone like
Yeah,
a voice actor? Um,
totally.
but let's switch back to Radio Pizza Party. How did that all get started?
Sure. Yeah, so me and Jack, we were friends. We were kind of like first year roommates at UVic. We both went to UBC in our second years, and we were like, oh, we should do a radio station. We're funny guys. This is like the ultimate, like every guy says this. We're funny guys. Let's like if someone was just recording this. So then we were,
I feel like you're
after a
calling
long
me
time
out
trying
right now, Tristan.
to um, and we were spent a long time trying to figure out the idea for it, and the idea that we eventually picked, which didn't end up sticking, was we would kind of come up with a topic on the spot, like we had a hat full of subjects, which would then get picked from, but that doesn't last a whole lot. Doesn't last long when you pick one and then you don't have anything prepared for an hour's episode, and then you're like and it's live too, so you can't be like, all right, let's reconvene in a little bit here. So it kind of just slowly became a variety show. Just we'd kind of be like, let's talk about this, let's do this dumb idea for a game, this idea for a segment. And it just, yeah, I think the best way to describe it would be, yeah, it just kind of became a random variety show where me and Jack spoke like people who hated being on the radio but loved talking.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I just kind of
Hated
came
being
up with
on the
that.
radio. Were you constantly
But
talking about the stress of having to actually run the show?
yeah, like we would like the thing what we would always do would just like the joke of it, I guess, like if I had to like look back and like apply a joke to it, was that we were very much characters, I guess, the heightened versions of ourselves, which is very true to our real selves. We're like constantly being like, oh, turn off the mics, and then we'd like talk and mutter to each other, and then be like, I kind of hate this guest. Yeah, me too. And then the person would obviously be hearing it and stuff, and it's usually a friend, so it's like everyone's in on it, but yeah, it was very bit heavy.
I definitely caught a lot of that in the charity stream, especially when it got a bit chaotic when you had something like 8 or 9 people in the voice chat at the same time.
It became so chaotic. There's a clip. I've been meaning to upload it, but my life's been crazy with moving and stuff. Of yeah, like at one point we do every year we did. So our first episode we or yeah first episode we did our first episode. So our first anniversary we did a commentary of that first episode, and then the year after that we did a commentary of the commentary, and then the year after that we did a commentary of the commentary of the commentary. So then for about an hour and a half's time on the actual stream we did a commentary of that, which as soon as the people started talking, like in the commentary and in the thing, it just was like bonkers chaos, and everyone lost it and was like, I don't know who's talking. Is this Jack in real life? Is this Jack from 5 months ago? Is this it was
So
just like,
you're hearing your voice, the pre-recorded voices.
yes, it was like one of the hardest I laughed in a long time, because just immediately as soon as we turned it on, it was like everyone started freaking out. Like everyone that was on the talk call at that moment was like, this is so stressful. What's going on? And everyone was doing that same thing. It was like such a funny, chaotic moment.
So you also played a lot of games on Radio Pizza Party. I know we
Yes.
talked about this off air a week or two ago, but when I first moved to Canada, I was listening to a lot of CITR because I was trying to get my own show on there, which actually eventually turned into what you're all watching right now. This all started from there. But the first thing I ever heard when I tuned onto CITR was Radio Pizza Party, and you and Jack were playing Would You Rather, and the very comedy Bang Bang-esque version. I could say like both your show and my early show as well, very heavily influenced by Scott Aukerman and his works. What are some
For
of
sure.
your favorite games you played on Radio Pizza Party?
Oh man, so a lot of the games that we'd play on that show would be like the name would be the joke, and the fact that we're doing it is the joke. Like we did this one, I forget, I think I came up with it because I think Jack hated it, was What's Gross? And
What's gross?
What's Gross? And I made a little drop for it, which had like sounds of like macaroni being stirred, and then like a sound of, I think it was Star Wars or something, because it was like the highest grossing movie of the year. And we just talked about what was gross. And it's like, obviously, that's not good radio, but just the fact that we're doing it is one. Um, we've done a lot. Yeah, that one comes to mind as like a very, very dumb game idea.
So would you say you're sort of heavily inspired by anti-comedy, like Steve Martin and Andy Kaufman sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think that's like that's definitely personally, I can't speak for Jack too much, but I think that's very much like my wheelhouse is very like dumb but knows it's dumb but is still dumb kind of humor.
Yeah, it's, you get into so many layers of irony that you wonder, even in the first place, how you got there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There are many times during Radio Pizza Party where one of us had been like, "This sucks. Like, this is so dumb." Like, saying that even, which is even funny in and of itself. Just being
Kind of
like,
takes the
"Yeah, this whole
pressure
thing
off,
is
right?
ridiculous." Yeah, exactly.
How long do you think you were doing it before you went from the stress of doing it? Because I've done live radio. I'm doing this live right now. I've been doing live Jonas for a couple of years. Um,
Hmm.
and I'll get stressed leading up to it. I get anxious. Did that ever go away for you doing Radio Pizza Party? Or were you always thinking, like, we're going to hit 15 minutes and run out of shit to say?
Um, I think I think like the nature of the show was super conducive to like it was kind of self refilling, like just it's based purely on me and Jack's energy versus like the other person, like the guest or
I
guests.
like that you say
So
versus specifically.
yeah, yeah, and but in terms of being nervous, it took up until, I don't know, definitely a couple months. And then there was a time where our show got extended from an hour to an hour and a half. And we both
Like,
were kind
as
of like,
punishment?
and that was, no, yeah, I mean, in retrospect, it might have been. But it would be like, we'd be like, oh, this is, oh, we got this. And then as soon as that first hour's up, we're like, we just all the energies, like we're just like tired. It's usually almost it's like 7:30 at night at that point after a whole week. It's so we kind of had to adapt to that as well. But luckily, I mean, you have to deal with all the tech stuff too, which is like super stressful, whereas in studio they kind of really walk you through it, which is nice.
I found that people generally seem to understand with streaming, and because I've got some good hardware here, as you can see in the background, but it's
Hmm.
been a process getting to this point, and there's only so much a computer can handle. Like 10 minutes before we went live today, my computer blue screened, um, and so
Hmm.
Talia had to my producer Talia, it's the as I was saying, the Roz to my Frasier, had to message Tristan and let him know what he's going on. But this is bad content right now. So this, like, bad content and talking about bad content. Are we kind of doing Radio Pizza Party right now?
A little bit.
We're just
Yeah,
missing
I think
Jack.
yeah, we're just missing Jack's like um yeah, Jack's like kind of detached irony and my exuberant naivete.
He's kind of
And
the more the straight guy in the duo, right?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think Jack is a lot of the times funnier than me. I think I'm just a little more of a higher energy person, but he will like just kind of say something and it will like flatten the room. Like he's one of those types of guys that just kind of waits and then, or he doesn't. Yeah, he's just got that lower energy. I think I'm too excitable.
This is completely non sequitur, but I've been actually meaning to ask you this since I met you. Has anyone ever
Okay,
told you that you look like Peter Serafinowicz?
Peter Serafinowicz. No, I've never
You,
heard that.
do you
I've
know who
got a
that
lot of.
is?
I do from. I know exactly who he was in Shaun of the Dead. He's like the tick.
Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, he's in that.
He's in that. I have never heard Peter Serafinowicz. I think I think I get compared to many white actors with brown hair and kind of like crookedy noses, like noticeable noses. Like I've gotten Justin Trudeau, I've gotten Hugh Grant,
Justin Trudeau is
I've
a bit of
gotten
a mean one. Hugh Grant at least was like a heartthrob. I guess Trudeau's a heartthrob to like Melania Trump.
yeah, I was like it was like when he first was campaigning 2015, I had longer hair and no one knew what was going to happen. And he was like, he was the good guy against Stephen Harper. But so it was a little more nice then. But yeah, no, for sure.
Well, you actually sent me a song submission yourself. That is a submission. It's a song by a friend of yours, but you made the video. Is that right?
Yes,
Um,
yes, my friend Nick Morgan, aka Senior Booth, he made this. He's made two albums of, like Neil Cicierega, like mouth sounds, like that sort of style, like very mashup, very kind of hilarious, but also he's a really good musician, so he's able to kind of put actual, yeah, musicianship into these songs. Like this song in particular, there's a few moments where after like the kind of joke wears off, you're like, damn, this is, at least personally, like, damn, this guy's got, there's some musical chops here. It's not just wacky, wacky, wacky stuff.
well, I'm excited to hear it. Let's go into it now. I'm so glad we've got the fiber internet now.
Oh yeah.
Fucking weed, pot, marijuana, fucking ganja. Fucking weed, pot, marijuana. Fucking ganja, pot, marijuana, fucking weed, pot, marijuana. Fucking weed, pot, marijuana, fucking ganja, pot,
More music videos need to have a big thing that says finished right at the end so that I know when to turn my microphone back on.
Exactly. That lets you know because if you don't, then you're just sitting there waiting and waiting, and then you realize like 15 minutes later that it was done and no one told you.
Exactly. So that was Livid by Senor Booth. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about, so you made that video? You directed that video?
Yes. Yes. I did. I made this video. Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. I said, can you tell us a little bit about that? But I said it in such a way
For
that
sure.
made it inaudible.
No, yeah, I don't know. It's like it was one of those ones where I heard the song that my friend he'd made it like a year ago, and I just had for whatever reason I had this image of someone walking through the streets with picture like old clips. It kind of came to my mind fully formed in a weird way, and then it was kind of flushed out as me and my friend Johan kind of cruised around being like, oh, what if we did this? Now, okay, what if we did this? And yes, and then we filmed that in I think it was March or something like that.
Is that Johan in the video or Senor Booth himself?
No, that's Johan, but my friend Nick, he lives in Castlegar, he's from my hometown, and he made the music, and me and Johan filmed it in Vancouver.
I think, yeah. So we had the mics muted. You don't have that luxury because I haven't figured that out yet. During that song, and Talia recognized Main Street. Did you get hassled at all walking down the street pretending to drink, or is it the second you've got the camera there?
I think the camera thing is useful. There was some teens, teens, and they were like, hey, how's it going? What are you filming? And then they like
Terrifying,
ran
honestly.
into the frame. And then I just was like kept filming. And then after, as I was walking away, they're like, "Oh, what were you filming? Was that for TV?" And I just told him it was a snuff film, and he was like, "Oh, cool." And
Oh, he just pretended to know what that was.
yeah, exactly. He's like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, "You don't know what that means, or else you would."
Speaking of like getting away with stuff while you're filming it, I remember when I was in film school, I was helping someone else on their project after I'd finished mine, and we were filming a Coke deal downtown in Perth, or the CBD as we call it in Perth, the Central Business District.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. And now CBD is obviously a much more popular acronym for something else. I don't know what
Sure.
it
No, I
is.
thought it was for the same thing. I always thought it was related to the Central Business District.
Nothing helps you relax like the Central Business District.
A good bullish market puts my mind at ease.
Exactly. But yeah, even some cops walked past. We're in an alley, but they saw the camera and just kept walking. And I just thought, like, why aren't people doing this for real?
Oh, just carrying around a camera and doing crimes because people think it's fake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people have done that. It's like if you put on a high visibility vest and a hard hat, and you walk into a building, you can take a TV off a wall and no one will stop you.
Yeah, like, do you think you could hold up a liquor store being like, this is for a short film, and then you're like, give me all the money, and then you just walk away.
Well, there's only one way to find out, I guess.
Truly. Hey, listeners, I'm not saying do this, but
maybe, if you're not doing anything else.
If you're not doing it, hey, this is a parody, but
exactly. It's
satire.
like maybe try it out in Minecraft is a phrase you're seeing a lot at the moment with all of the current goings on and uprisings and things. But
exactly.
Anyway, I think that's a good a note as any to end it on. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Oh, of
Tristan.
course. Well, thanks for having me on for number one.
Yeah, that will never be taken from you. You'll always be the first guest. You'll be like that, the cleverest YouTube commenter, posting first.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was such a huge thing in YouTube. I remember. Now you don't really see people worrying about that anymore.
I did it in a Discord server the other day. I got invited to a fresh Discord server and I posted first. But
oh yeah.
Anyway, have you got anything to plug on the way out?
I got a few things. Like my Twitter, T-Bone_Wheeler on Twitter is a good place to see what I'm going on. Me and my friend Thomas Ellison are going to be releasing a movie podcast coming soon, next week on the filmmaker David Cronenberg. So it's
Cool.
it was a bit of a quarantine project, and we're keeping it going. And then yeah, just follow me on Twitter. I don't know, if you have hey, employ me if you need a writer.
In Toronto or remote.
In Toronto or remotely.
Great. Well, I'm definitely going to check
Exactly.
out that podcast. I'd like to learn more about Cronenberg. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back here in 2 weeks with an extra special guest. I haven't been given the clearance to promo it yet, so you'll just have to find out. If you want to call in, make sure you're in our Discord, which you can find at the link below or on cavegoblins.com. I've been Xanthea Vanderlei, and this has been Cave Goblin Radio on the Cave Goblin Network. Goodbye.
Hell yeah.